All right, welcome to Mango Trader, the latest product by AI MultiPrompter LLC. A Mango Trader is an all-in-one platform for stock and ETF trading and data intelligence related to stocks and ETFs. And it is built for Mac OS desktop computers only. And we can see here some of the main system requirements include the latest Mac OS software. It's recommended to use at least 16 gigabytes of RAM in order to be able to process large amounts of stocks, thousands of stocks per day with extremely detailed predictive models. And so the current requirement is 50 plus gigabytes just for the install file, but it's actually recommended to probably have at least a couple hundred gigabytes on hand on a computer in order to be able to store stock data easily for many, many years. So you also will need to have installed certain Python requirements which come in the installer, and of course internet data to be able to sync and update your information. So when we come down here, we see more information about the architecture of the app itself. There's a lot of layers woven into it. It really relies on the modern Mac OS framework or the Mac OS system in order to function. Most of it's written in Swift. Some of it is also written in Python and some in SQL as well. So we really get there complex data structures which we're able to assimilate and evaluate in terms of stock and trading information. And there's a lot of highly technical terms there, but really what that gives us is the ability to do multi-horizon forecasting. We're able to do trend detections in different ways, risk assessments. We're able to look at dividend information, fundamentals information. And we get a lot of OS dashboards and things that we will dive into momentarily. So we also are going to cover real quick some of the core capabilities of the app. So at its current iteration, it has 5,000 plus equities and ETFs. You get industry and sector rollups, and you have the ability to create custom watch lists of tickers that you research or industries or sectors that you think are interesting. And you can use that to actually perform live trading and things like that. So a little bit more information on the multi-horizon forecasting. That's really the ability to go into predictive algorithms at different time periods in the future and look at the trends for thousands of stocks on different intervals. So you can look in terms of days, even hours, weeks, months, quarters, and years. In total, we have some 10 years of stock data and some 5 years of news data in the current iteration. So there's a healthy sampling of historical data to be able to make forecasting predictions using the tools and algorithms which we've developed over the course of over a year. And so then with that, there's a lot of different trend analysis that we dive into when we cover the app in a few minutes here. And so, as we mentioned before, we've got, a plethora of data. We've got 10 plus years of historical data. We've got fundamentals and dividends data. We have actually 12 sectors, not 11. And so here's a little bit more information on the different analysis engines, or more so the algorithms that we use to make predictions. The main ones that we use are grouped into the machine learning algorithms and the ones that are formulaic or derived of math and historical pricing data. So, we look at those across different horizons and with different intentions and show you different reporting from that, which really helps you make quick and easy decisions across the entire market and being able to separate opportunities from non-opportunities. So With the automation and scheduling, you're able to set it up so you get live updates daily into the pipeline, which build up the historical knowledge and improve the machine learning algorithms as well. And so you have user-defined actions where you can really customize that to your preference and trading usage. If you're a short-term day trader, if you're an intraday trader, or if you're more perpetual, long-term holding trader, and allows also for long and short trading. So you really get the best of both worlds there as well. So a little bit more information here about the app and how it works. Important disclaimer, we don't provide financial advice. This is more so a platform where you can develop your own feedback loop in your own system using your own API keys for the data itself. So the data is not actually something that will be at current included in the Mango Trader, but is something that you can integrate into the app with third-party API keys. And currently we have integrations with Alpaca and FMP for stock and ETF data. So long as you have an API key to those accounts, then you can load in your own historical data in order to use our predictive models and our interface to understand that data. So in total, that is the introduction to Mango Trader. Now we're going to go ahead and dive into an overview of the app itself. Hey, my name's Wyatt. We're looking at Mango Trader. We're on the dashboard currently, so this is the first thing that loads in when you open the app. I currently have it on the live view, which doesn't have any money in the account. So all the numbers at top are essentially your summary portfolio numbers that show the current balance in your account, your profit and loss for today, what your cash balance is if you have money that's free on hand to invest in stocks, and then the number of positions that you have. So we see that what's loaded is some ticker details for the SPY, which is the S&P 500. And with that, we see some different predictive tools that show you essentially a prediction on different horizons related to the SMA 20 and SMA 50, which is adjusted for time periods along that horizon. So essentially, it shows you any time in the past or at present. When you click to the far right, a prediction essentially of along that horizon, if it's a good time to buy, a good time to sell. Now, currently we're doing something that's a little bit intensive, which is switching tickers. So we just did that. Now we have some of the new metrics loading in. We already have the new ticker details that loaded in. And in future iterations of the app, I will make that look a little bit more clean. But you can see down below, we have a new pricing chart along the 1 month horizon at current. So you can kind of click along the chart and it's going to load different predictive things compared to the SMA 20 and SMA 50 values. All right, so what we're doing now is we just switched it to paper, which is the artificial trading mode. So it's kind of something that, is useful for students or amateur investors that are starting to just try to learn, more about the norms of investing and how to trade and don't want to work with actual real money. So, you can see, more stuff loading in right now. So there are a few more things there. You can see RSI 14 values and ATR 14 values also at bottom, which you can see for different times. So, you know, there are things that, you can do in addition on the dashboard here, such as open up pricing history, which will show you the complete daily pricing for the selected ticker along that selected horizon. So if you have 1 month, it'll show you 1 month of sales history from each day in descending order. And we go ahead and try to let that load. But some tickers don't have that data. So I don't think it's actually going to load on the current selection, which is something we'll figure out in just a second here. Anyways, while we let that go, okay, now we're switching to the historic universe. So this is where you select which tickers are currently in your active universe, or, in other words, which ones you want to consider for predictive things or for evaluation and menus and stuff like that. So now we went through a couple more menus, and we're going to go through them real quick because we're not focusing on them today. But one is the custom scripts, which allows you to run different Python scripts on the data, and My AI Alerts, which is a feature that lets you to use ChatGPT over data that we will be discussing shortly. So currently now we're on the trading center. So this is where you can actually use Alpaca as a brokerage to trade the different tickers in your universe. So currently we're on SO or SQAR, I can't see exactly. And we're looking again at different predictions on different time frames with the SMA 20 and SMA 50 adjusted to that as well. Down below, we see some predictive details that we'll be discussing in more detail shortly. But that is something that we use to evaluate, whether or not timing is good for stocks, whether or not they're good for short-term gains or long-term gains. If you want to evaluate the long market or the short market, you can do either of those different sides. So now we're kind of playing around with the selection menu. So you can switch from one to another. And I'm referencing a list, so I'm going to show you how, in a second, where the lists are located. But essentially, so now we're scrolling down to some of the details. So you can see we have some that are rated against the current horizon, which currently is selected as 1 year. And then others which are more perpetual. So now we're trading, again, the live to the papers. So now you can see some artificial positions, but if you're live and you have actual positions in your portfolio, you'll see those as well. So you can do actual trading there. You can buy and sell things, and you can see the most recently loaded price for that. So you can order it by quantity, not by price. And we have our predictive tab, which is the most elaborate. So we have all these additional dashboard menu items. So the first one, of course, is a summary, which is along the current horizon, which I believe is 1 year currently. So you can see percentages, which is the expected percentage change over that horizon. And we have additional statistics to sort by, such as confidence for the predictive tools used. This one is a machine learning algorithm, so it's completely different from the one we saw earlier. There are actually about 10 or so different predictive models here that you can evaluate that are independent of each other. So the current chart there, it shows you all of the different horizons. So you can see kind of like the complete predicted path along the machine learning algorithm. The other one that's major is the formulaic one. So it does the same thing. You see predicted change over a formulaic independent formula of predictive future returns, and the same with the machine learning. And so there's kind of some summary information there, some additional statistics that come from other reports that we have not covered yet, such as perpetual rankings, which are more so for people that are, looking to hold on to stocks for many years or even decades and want to know, what are the most stable in terms of fundamentals and dividends information. So at top there, you can see we can filter down into different industries and sectors. So we get there, the same list, but shortened from 5,000 plus tickers to just, however many fit that uranium industry. So now you can kind of read on, different businesses. You can see about how many employees they have, if they have a phone number, a location, a website. So now we're switching into horizon industries. This is predictive means across the current selected horizon. Now that's cross horizon there, the machine learning predictive return for airports and air services. So within that, you can also see which tickers make up that grouping, and you can sort them individually to see which are the top and worst performing out of that group. So the slope is cross horizon. Timing is based on the historic timing. So it's based on past timing. So if it says buy, that means that, it's undervalued compared to historic timing. If it's a sell, it's overpriced compared to historic timing. And when you go to horizon sectors, then the same thing is for industries, but with sectors. So now, a lot more tickers belong to each sector. We just switched up the horizon. So we're showing now that there are different, expected returns along different horizons on the aggregate here. And sectors are going to be a little bit less return than some industries, of course, because they're more aggregated. But you can see along like a 5-year horizon, mostly everything turns positive in the predictive tool. Now we can see, again, that historic timing. So this kind of shows the current pricing in the universe compared to times in the past. So you can see prices are up compared to 90 days, from 5 days, etc., but they're down over 126 and 250 whatever. So that might be a good time to buy a lot of stocks, even if short term they are having issues. So now we're loading what's called the directional matrix. So this is along the horizon as a predictive tool of essentially what future actions will be for signals along different horizons. So this one actually we're doing again, we're changing the horizon because there was not data currently made for that other horizon. So for the 1 year horizon, we can see you can filter down into individual tickers. You can sort by, of course, the expected return, but then also risk reward. And there are different, validity attributes associated with that. We can also see an action item there, so that's where you generate those lists. So for example, if you see things here that pop out to you, you can make notes and group them into lists, such as like a buy list or an interest list, and you can evaluate them that way. So now we looked at a few more things, which is cross-horizon slope. So that shows you the aggregated slope, essentially how well those tickers do, aggregated on all horizons. So if they have positive return, generally that means, every independent horizon pretty much associates that good. So now we're doing sorting on a top selections, which is a sorted group of about 100 or so rows. that is another predictive model that takes all of the other predictive models and kind of aggregates them a little. So you can see kind of some aggregations of some information, and you can sort by all of those different headers and freeze some of those headers. So when you move to the right, you can still kind of keep up with stuff. Now we're on the perpetual predictions tab. So this one shows you more across, people are thinking in terms of years and decades of trading and holding. And this is where we evaluate more of not just pricing information, but more of the business side of, how are dividends returning if it's a dividend stock? What are the fundamentals data that we have? So currently we're loading in fundamentals. Now there's a lot more fundamentals data, but this is just a small sampling. And we can see kind of, free cash flow amounts for different tickers on different years. We can sort that down as well. It looks like I'm looking for one that isn't currently there. And so, that's something that a future update would improve, I think. But we go down, you can see, revenue information. So just a little bit more company information. But there's a lot more that goes into the aggregated perpetual predictions from the actual fundamentals themselves than what appeared in that table. And so now we're loading in dividends. So we're going to get kind of a similar summary of a lot of dividend data that we have that's going to show returns and years of, and also showing yield and frequency of different dividends. So this is a useful tool to kind of see the history of different dividends and sort them that way. So now we're switching over to my favorite tab, which is the combo rankings. Now this shows an aggregate across all different horizons of the different main predictive tools. So we have the formulaic and machine learning for different tickers, which are aggregated together into a future ranking, as well as the perpetual rankings, which create with the future ranking the combo ranking. So you can see if on overall aggregated future predictive horizons, as well as the perpetual horizons, how certain stocks rank. So it's kind of interesting to see that, some stocks just really seem to kind of gravitate towards the top. And you can kind of, dive into more of the details of those specific stocks. When you click on them, we have some information there as well that shows you the company information, links to their website, some scoring based information. We also can see whether or not the current pricing is undervalued, if it's high quality within that criteria of a combo ranking, and if it has a wide moat or not. And now we're loading in the news analysis, which is the part that takes the longest amount of time to load because it has the most data. There is in total, in my current implementation, about a decade's worth of stock data and about 5 years or so of news data aggregated daily for about 5,000 tickers. So this has ChatGPT sentiment scores on it as well. So you can, assess individual symbols or look at all of them. And this is the one that summarizes over an entire ticker symbols history. So you can see, what the trend is for the news. Is it something improving? Is it, is it declining? What is the dominant sentiment there? And then now we're looking over different time frames. So it's the same ticker we have filtered there on different time frames. So you can see that it has been mostly bullish and now just recently turned strongly bullish. So still, you can see also, the mean sentiment is growing as well over shorter time frames, which means we have an improving sentiment in terms of, that might be one which, based on news, strictly speaking, is looking pretty good. So the final thing I'm trying to load in there is essentially the all, which gives you daily news sentiment. And that takes a few minutes to load. So I'll save that for another video